My wife was on her way into work a couple of months ago when an 18-wheeler lost a recap tire right in front of her. She couldn't avoid it, and when she hit it, it did all this damage here. The police were called, an incident report was filed, we contacted the truck lines. Their insurance company declined to cover this, saying that pieces of tires and recaps are just road hazards and that's not something they can prevent. I could turn it in on my insurance, but I have a pretty large deductible, so I decided to fix it on my own. I looked on the internet and found companies that sell used front bumper covers, which this is, and I ordered one. Okay, so this is what I got off of eBay. This thing came out of Florida, I believe, and I know it's got some scuffs on it, but I got the thing for 200 bucks shipped. So I'm gonna get it unwrapped and look at the scuffs and see what we can do about it. Okay, here it is. This is the worst scuff on it. I don't think that'll be too bad to fix, and there's a little scuff here. For the most part, it's not bad. I think there's a place online that I can order paint in aerosol cans that will exactly match this thing, and then of course I got to prep it. So let's see what I can find out. First, I'd like to start off by saying I am no expert at this. I have messed with some Bondo when I was much younger, a little bit. I've never really done any kind of body repair, but I'm just going to give it my best shot. I'm sure I'll get some comments about how many things I'm doing wrong, but I'm just going to see how good I can make it come out. Here's the stuff I bought for the repair. This came from Microfinish LLC. I'll put a link in the description of their website. Came with a couple of cards there to check the paint with, a couple of tack cloths. I got 1 can of the sandable primer from them, 3 cans of the clear, and 2 cans of the base coat color. I also purchased this Bondo and another can of primer and some 320 grit sandpaper, 600 grit sandpaper, and 1000 grit sandpaper. My goal here is to patch the bad spots, sand them down, coat them with primer, get them smooth, put the base coat on it, and then I'm planning on clear coating the entire bumper cover. I don't think I'll have enough of the base coat to do the whole thing, but I might do that too, so we'll see. You can see that I've got it raised up here to where I can get to those bad spots pretty easily. So the first thing I'm going to do is do a little bit of sanding. I'm going to start off with the 320 grit sandpaper. I made a sanding block out of a piece of wood. I'm going to wash this thing off with a little bit of Windex and some clean rags and tape off this black part next. I should have had a skinnier roll of tape. This is just 2-inch painter's tape. But like I said earlier, I'm not an expert. Again, I'm not looking for perfection, just near perfection. Now I cover up all this. Don't laugh. It's all the paper I had. Taping this off was one part I really kind of forgot about having to be done. Happy birthday to you. Okay, I don't have any of those fancy little yellow spreading things, but I do have an expired Chick-fil-A card. We're going to see how that works. So I only need just a little bit of this. And wow, like I said, I've never really dealt with it. It looks kind of watery to me, but it seems to be thin everywhere. So I'm gonna just take a little blob out right here. I don't need much at all, so we're gonna say that much. From what I remember, it took like a ball size to a golf ball size, so I just need a little bit of this, I believe. I'm gonna say that's probably way too much. It's gonna make it set really fast, so I'm gonna try not to pull all of it into here. Get about that much and mix it up and see what it does. I think this is supposed to turn to a blue tint when I've got it mixed up all the way. I need more. I'm gonna put it all in there. Worst thing it'll do is set really quick on me, I think. I think you want a smooth, consistent color, and I probably got too much hardener in it. All right, I think that's good enough. All right, let's just put all I really need to do is just fill those low spots. I think most of this, the primer might have covered. This stuff's already beginning to set on me. So I think I'm pretty much done. Put some on there so I can sand it back off. Yeah, let's see what that does. It's already dried. Okay, while this was set up and curing right here, I went ahead and sanded all the rest of this cover with 320 grit sandpaper. I'm gonna go now, since this is ready to sand, and see what it looks like. Using a block, a piece of wood, and a piece of sandpaper on it. I probably left too much Bondo on it, but I don't mind sanding a little bit. I think ideally I will remove all the Bondo except for where it's in the scratches. Yeah, I definitely left too much on there. Tell you, it looks good, it feels good. I've moved everything out of the garage that I don't want to get paint on. All I'm going to do at this point is hit the spots with primer that I think need it. All right, I couldn't get the primer that they sent with their kit to shake up. It didn't have a ball in it that I could make move. All the other cans they sent did. So I'm going to use this I already had here. I think it'll be fine. Anyway, here we go. I'm just going to start off with some light coats. All the little scratches everywhere I see, I'm going to try to fill those up. All right, let's let that dry, maybe put another coat on it. Okay, I've put a couple more primer coats on all these places. I'm gonna take some of this 320 grit sandpaper again and sand those areas and see what it turns out looking like. I don't think I've let it dry enough yet. I'm gonna give it a little bit longer to dry. It's kind of widening up on me a little bit here and there.
The next morning.
At this point, I have taken the 600 grit sandpaper, wet sanded the entire bumper cover here, taken a wet cloth and wiped it all off. Next, I'm going to go with some 1000 grit sandpaper and see if I can get this thing ready to paint. One mistake I may have made was using 320 grit to begin with. I think it was too coarse. I can see some of those lines. So I'm going to work on it until I can get most of those lines out, then I'll be ready to paint. Also, one thing I wanted to mention is that I'm not using a sanding block now. I'm just using my hand and wet sanding it. Okay, I've gone over it with the 1000 grit sandpaper and then went back around with a wet cloth and dried it all off and washed the sanding powder off. I think it's ready to put the base coat on. From my knowledge anyways, I think it looks okay. We'll give it a shot here in a minute with some base coat paint. Okay, I'm getting ready to apply the first can of base coat here in just a minute. But I was looking and the manufacturer of this stuff sent this little test card. And they want you to spray paint this back side, explain how many coats you used and that sort of thing and the conditions that you put it on. And then also clear coat it. And you fill it out and send it back to them. I guess it's for their reference to know how well they're doing on their paint matching. First, I got to wipe this thing down with a tack cloth. That removes any of the dust and stuff off of it. And then right before I go to painting, I'm going to put on this respirator. And so I'm not inhaling all these fumes. I'm also working in a garage here. You can't see it, but there's a garage door open just to my back here. I've got it off camera because it's so bright outside. But there's plenty of ventilation in here. I don't think there's any hazards at all. So stick around, I'm going to spray some paint on here. I know that normally this would be done inside a paint booth. Obviously, I don't have that. Okay, I've completed the base coat. It actually turned out very well in my opinion. Okay, with that first base coat color on, which turned out pretty well, I'm ready for what they're calling base coat color number 2. So we're going to spray that on there and see how it looks after that. Then I've got to put the clear coat on. Okay, that's the second coat on here. I think that's kind of what gives it a little bit of glitter because this is a pearl color here. So next I'm going to apply some clear coat. I've got 3 cans of that, even though I don't think I'll need more than 1.5 or so. They're just not that much painting on here. But it's looking really good. I'm very happy with it. Here it is after 2 coats of clear. I used about 1.5 cans to do this. It came out very nice. You can see the reflections in it. I don't have any orange peel spots anywhere that I can tell. This was the worst spot over here where I did the little bit of Bondo work, which really wasn't nothing. But nice clean lines. I'm very happy with it. And I recommend these people. They did not sponsor me or anything like that, but I'm very happy with their product. It seemed to do exactly what I needed it to do. So the next thing is to get it on the car. I removed the old cover from the car and placed it and the new one on a blanket. I had to transfer the fog lights and some other components from the old to the new. I then reinstalled the new one, and this is the way it turned out. Okay, that does it for this project. I really hope that you found something in it that was useful to you or entertaining in some way. If you haven't done so already, please hit that like button and subscribe. I'm working really hard on these videos, and each subscriber helps me a lot. So I really would appreciate it. And until I see you again, thanks for watching.